The night the sky over Natanz turned white, the world stopped breathing. Without warning, Israeli fighter jets pierced Iranian airspace, slicing through radar shadows and electronic fog. Precision bombs fell like silent verdicts. Nuclear facilities that had stood for decades erupted into pillars of fire. Shockwaves rolled across the desert. Within minutes, the images flooded every screen on Earth. Flames rising, sirens screaming, commanders shouting over broken communications. In Tehran, the response was swift and absolute. Missile silos opened like iron flowers. Ballistic missiles roared upward, tearing through the darkness toward Tel Aviv, Haifa, Jerusalem. Air defense systems lit up the Israeli sky, interceptors colliding with incoming warheads in violent flashes. Some missiles slipped through, buildings crumbled, hospitals overflowed, the air tasted of dust and burning concrete. By dawn, the war was no longer a shadow conflict. Iran declared that any nation hosting foreign military bases aiding Israel would be considered a combatant. Hours later, missiles streaked toward the Gulf. Explosions thundered near U.S. installations in Qatar. Drones skimmed low over the waters toward Bahrain. Oil terminals in the UAE burned, black smoke swallowing the horizon. Kuwait's ports fell silent as sirens wailed across the coastline. Global markets crashed before the smoke settled. Oil surged past unimaginable highs. Cargo ships froze in place as Iran's navy mined the Strait of Hormuz. The world's energy artery constricted, and panic rippled through every capital. Washington responded with force. Carrier strike groups surged into the Persian Gulf. American bombers launched from distant bases, crossing continents to strike Iranian missile batteries and command centers. The night sky over Iran glowed again, this time under relentless waves of retaliation. Anti-aircraft fire stitched the darkness, cities trembled, then the northern front ignited. From Lebanon, Hezbollah unleashed thousands of rockets into northern Israel. Towns emptied as families fled south. Israeli artillery pounded border regions. In Gaza, sirens returned. In Yemen, Houthi forces targeted Saudi and Emirati infrastructure, extending the battlefield across deserts and seas. Diplomacy fractured. Russia condemned Western aggression and began supplying Iran with advanced air defense systems and intelligence support. China called for restraint while quietly securing oil contracts and moving naval assets to protect its trade routes. NATO invoked emergency consultations. Europe mobilized air defenses as cyber attacks crippled power grids and banking systems from Berlin to London. The war expanded beyond geography. Satellites malfunctioned under suspected anti-satellite tests. GPS signals faltered. Global communications flickered. Cyber warfare plunged cities into darkness without a single missile fired. Financial systems bled trillions in hours. In South Asia, another fuse burned. Clashes erupted along the Pakistan-Afghanistan border after cross-border strikes targeted militant sanctuaries. Artillery thundered through mountain passes. Refugees poured across checkpoints that no longer functioned. Skirmishes intensified into sustained combat. Pakistan mobilized divisions toward its western frontier, stretching its defenses thin. India watched carefully, then moved troops closer to its borders as a precaution. The subcontinent, home to nuclear-armed rivals, shifted onto a higher state of alert. Every miscalculation carried catastrophic weight. Back in the Gulf, American forces launched a ground-limited operation to secure key maritime routes. Iranian Revolutionary Guard units responded with swarm tactics, fast boats, drones, coastal missile strikes. A U.S. destroyer took a direct hit. The footage spread instantly. Public pressure mounted in Washington for decisive escalation. Israel expanded its campaign deeper into Iranian territory, targeting leadership compounds. Rumors swirled of high-ranking casualties. Tehran vowed that retaliation would be unforgettable. Missiles were prepared with larger payloads. In secure bunkers across continents, leaders faced impossible calculations. Nuclear arsenals were placed on heightened readiness. Submarines disappeared beneath oceans with orders sealed. Early warning systems scanned the skies for anomalies. One false signal could end civilization. Protests erupted in world capitals, millions demanding a ceasefire. Yet on the front lines, ceasefire felt like a forgotten word. Oil fields burned for weeks. The global economy fractured. Food shortages spread as supply chains collapsed. Airspace closures stranded millions. Insurance markets failed. Nations hoarded resources. Alliances hardened into rigid blocs. The United States and NATO aligned with Israel and Gulf states. Russia and China deepened a strategic backing of Iran, stopping short of direct confrontation but moving ever closer to the line. A single event threatened to shatter that restraint. An unidentified missile struck near a NATO facility in Eastern Europe during a massive cyber blackout. For several minutes, origin tracking systems failed. Command centers prepared retaliatory options. Nuclear doctrines, written decades earlier, waited to be executed. Then confirmation arrived. It was not a strategic strike, but debris from a destroyed satellite cascading through orbit. The world stepped back from the brink by seconds, yet the war did not end. Cities across the Middle East lay scarred. Tens of thousands were displaced. Economies collapsed under sanctions and bombardment. The Strait of Hormuz remained contested waters. Skirmishes flared daily. Every negotiation attempt stumbled over distrust and revenge. Humanity stood balanced between escalation and exhaustion. The weapons existed. The alliances were drawn. The anger burned hot. All it would take was one order, one misread radar signal, one leader deciding there was nothing left to lose, and the edge of fire would become a global inferno.